Well, good morning, wanderers. Today you're joining me in Adare on the Royal Enfielders Ireland ride out. You join me on the Royal Enfielders Ireland ride out to somewhere, I don't know, a stone circle or something, I think I heard. I've just been chatting with John Nichols or Janner Fox and Alistair, who was the previous owner of this bike at some point, and also with Frankie of Frankie's World, who's another YouTube channel you could check out, and his bike Badger. Now this is my first time on a group ride with motorcycles beyond my parents, so I'm a bit out of my depth a little. We're doing the second man rule, which is the second person towards the front. They turn it off. The second person towards the front pulls in at a junction so that the last person can see where to go, and they fall in behind the last person. That way no one gets left behind, and then they become the last person. Lovely sounds. So there's some vintage Enfields and some older models and some current ones as well. Well, not current, but second to current. Also a Honda, I think. And when we get to wherever we're going, I might see if I can do a quick walk around of everyone's bikes. Hopefully they don't mind. It's nice though to put names to faces. Or faces to names, actually. I would imagine this is a tremendous sound for anyone trying to get some kip on Saturday morning. So I left Kilkenny around 7:30 and I made it to the campsite for 10 o'clock, which isn't bad when you factor in that I stopped and was stuck behind some tractors for a while and had to get petrol. I think I actually made it for about 10 to 10, so what's that? 2 hours and something. Now we've moved one up in the world. Now if you're hearing a buzzing noise, that's my watch there. Fortunately, it seems to have loosened itself a little, because if you listen, you can't hear it. So better fix that once we get to the next stop. Now one of these bikes, I'm not sure where it is, but I think it's a post-war mix and match of parts. I think I was told it had a 1940s engine in a 1950s frame, and it has a fishtail exhaust on it. I thought it looked really nice, blue and black. Okay, someone's coming back, are they? That seemed to be one of the new classic 350s. Hopefully I presume they're joining us, otherwise it'd be a bizarre coincidence, wouldn't it? So that was Ireland's largest stone circle, Grange stone circle, and I lost time chatting to everyone, so I didn't actually get to read any of the history about it, but magnificent spot. So I had a closer look at that bike and I was chatting to him about it. It's a G2 Bullet, with a 1946 engine and a 1952 frame. Different gearbox as well. A mix and mash of things. Apparently it's a push to get it to the 50 kilometers, or to the 50 miles I should say, but he kept up the whole way. We also filmed a gateway with a view for saddlebags for Frankie's channel, and that's Frankie on Badger right behind me there, which is one of those Pegasus model bullets, I think is what they're called, which are sort of inspired by the 125cc or the 50cc airborne Royal Enfield. Now I'm not sure what the next stop is, but I think lunch is at 2 o'clock booked in a pub somewhere. Also, that new Classic 350, I was right, was someone that was just late to the party. His name is Mike. Had a nice chat with him about his new Classic 350. Lovely machine. I'd love to take a closer look at it again. It's in the, I think it's the Halcyon black colour, and I'd say it's the newest bullet here. So now we're at Loch Gur. Grr. Worst time to cut out. So that was Loch Gur, and that's an old loch. I'll be honest, I spent most of my time chatting with everyone, so I didn't get to learn the history of it. But that's okay. Right now I think we're on to a pub. For some food and drinks. Non-alcoholic, of course. Got lots of tips and tricks to do with the Royal Enfield Bullets today, which is great. Main one being apparently it's at its best when it's fully loaded, so it's good for me to know. Also was having a look at one of the Watsonian Trials Enfields there. Pretty cool bike. It's sort of an in-between between the old unit construction engine and this version, and it's EFI, but as you can see the engine case is sort of a bit more old-fashioned. Alistair, who used to own this bike and who currently owns an older model Bullet, he was delayed because his carburetor fell out. Luckily it's all seems to be okay again now. The timing was a bit off apparently, but everyone seemed to have a go at fixing it, and apparently it's working now. Fingers crossed that holds for the weekend. But he was the previous owner of this bike. Well, not the previous. I got it from the person he sold it to. And the person he sold it to only apparently held on to it for a couple of months in the pandemic. Because he said he sold it in, I think, February. And then this was on sale and done deal in September. So, make of that what you will. I guess the guy, it wasn't exactly what the person was looking for. But before Alistair owned it, it was owned by, I think a man bought it for his wife, but she apparently only did 400 miles on it and decided it wasn't for her. So the poor little bike that nobody wanted, but it's good enough for me. She's running very well today, I have to say, aside from that cutout there at the start, but I reckon that was my fault somehow. God. Which way are we going? We're going straight on. Thank you. Okay, so apparently I'm second man now. That's scary to me. But let's give it a go. Or that will reach the place we're going before. Also on the way here, apparently we passed through the ancestral home of JFK, which is Bruff. That's interesting. You see, in Wexford they have the JFK Arboretum in honour of JFK, for that's also his ancestral hometown, so not sure what that's about, but maybe we'll find out. Ahead of me is Hugh, I think, who owns the campsite where the Royal Enfielders meet up. Now, I don't think he's joining us at the pub, but he's going to lead us the way there, I think. He's on a nice army green Bullet 500. Oh, there goes the camera. Okay, second man time. We're recording. I think that's the Honda in front of me there. It's a lovely sound on it. If it is the Honda, whatever it is, it sounds great. 72, so probably. Now see, I thought that this died at some point a short while ago, so I thought I'd missed the part where I was the second man, so that's why there was no commentary over it, but that was fine. At least now I know how to do it. It's all experience. I'm covered in bugs. So we just had lunch in Sean Collins. I just had some chips and a Guinness Zero, which was lovely. And now we're heading on down to Sprockets and Hubs, which is, of course, the home of Royal Enfields in Ireland. I'll let John lead the way. Now apparently it's just a minute down the road, but I'm just going to trust them. God, do I sound like that? I have no idea. I only be hear the sound from this side of the bike. Maybe I'm leaving that in my wake. Is this it on the left, I think? Is it? Yeah. Alright. Sprockets and Hubs, Royal Enfield Ireland. Yes, in here. As long as they don't think mine's for sale.
Mine looks a bit out of place with all those on. Alright.
Nice cold grey Himalayan, whatever way you want to pronounce it. Oh, look at this. It's lovely, though. Stealth black.
All right, okay.
Yeah, this would be the Bullet I'd get. It's the new classic 350s. I think it looks great in this colour. It's kind of bluish in hue. But I've never seen one of these before. 535. It seems to be a Bullet B5 engine in an Interceptor Continental GT. Looks great though. 535. New Scram. And here's some nice vintage models. BSA apparently. Well, that's not vintage, but Interceptor.
Goes a plate. I think it's a plate or an inside. I'm not sure. It could be an inside.
A lot of stock. Right then. See ya. And so thus ends my day out with the Royal Enfielders Ireland. Very pleasant day, a nice bunch. Had a good pint of Guinness Zero in the pub and it tasted pretty good. With the added benefit that I can drive right afterwards. That what was it? That 250 Crusader that we saw in the shop, the red and white one, that was one that Alistair actually restored himself. And he was saying that it's got a very short stroke on it, so it's high revving and you can just fly on it. He said you're always revving at the top, but you can go all the way up to 80 miles an hour before you know it. Who's this now? There's Alistair himself getting some groceries for the rest of the event. See ya. Lovely old car. You know, I always get nervous driving in unfamiliar cities that I'm just violating the traffic law constantly, because sometimes I'll look back in the mirror and there's no one behind me, and it's not as if it's very difficult to catch up to one of these bikes. I think I'm definitely going to have to come out for the full camp next time. I just need to learn how to camp first, huh? That's a gorgeous old building, whatever it is. So I think we'll leave it there for today. Thank you for joining me on this little journey to Adare in Limerick. In the meantime, safe driving, and I'll catch you next time. Bye!